Okay, welcome back. It's the next day. I don't know how many days it's been for you guys. Probably gave you a gap just to let everybody have a chance to watch one before I put out the next, but we are back in this gravel bed way far out here in the mountains, and we've been blessed with a few of these kind of overcast, cooler days after a bunch, week after week of 100-degree temperatures. And we are out hunting around the gravel beds of mid-central northern California here. And the very first thing that I found before I could even get a good intro made was this tip. So this is an old indigenous American tool, knife, spear tip of some sort. It's been sandblasted from rolling through the gravels. Let me put some water on it. Well, that didn't really help much. It's kind of soaking it up, but I can see it's got kind of a sheen to it, which is kind of cool. And it's the gray, kind of bubbly stuff that comes from Agate. We're actually near the base of Cobb. So I will move this up and out of these grinding gravels, and it's safe now. I feel like it's way more of a knife because it's bigger on that edge and then all skinny down on that side. But yeah, there's the start to the video. Welcome to the quest for details. Taking a little break. It's hot out here. I'm Nate, in case we haven't met before. Little cobble of brachiated jasper. It's got an awesome fun little pattern in there with the little squares breaks. It's probably actually like a brown shirt with quartz. And there's a round back. It's got kind of a fun pattern, but on its broken face I think it's the funnest. All the shapes that nature can make. Found this little piece of Wonderscape tuff. Different little ridges and horizons in that whole thing. Nice little specimen. Maybe it's a landscape day. Look at that little beauty. All the bottom layers on there. And a nice horizon line on the top. We'll take it. And another one. She's super fine banding in the red and the paler sky. It goes all the way around. This jumble of driftwood here all piled up. Some part of me still wants to grab a couple friends and build a fort especially under these old oaks. They have those little hollow spots and you can just kind of build out from there. Enjoying the shade of a cottonwood here for a second, and then we'll move on. Nice little piece of bowenite serpentine here, just glowing up at us. Look how big that is. Oh yeah. This is that translucent, sugary green stone. Big old chunk. A tool right there because it's out of place type of creature. Just made out of a flake, a big flake. But then worked down around the edges. It's crude, but it would do its job for sure. And that edge looks real. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Chunk of chert here. California green chert. Look at that. Oh. Just the greenest of the green. All the way through it, you can see little lips of translucent material. Nice chunk of green there. Very, very cute. Very beautiful colors in that one. That one, I guess it's tough, not the sandstone, but emulating it. And then just beautiful little pattern. Look good in a little planter with a cactus. Kind of a nice piece of bowenite here. I like how the white and the green are alternating here. So, very, very fat jade looking. With the green on the white. In the background. Those thin layers of the bowenite serpentine and then the white, whatever it is running through there. Maybe a tremolite or something. Some of that other serpentine, the williamsonite, semi-translucent when you cut it and polishes up okay. And it's just a lighter color scheme of the black and aqua, but it's pretty stuff. Doing the march here, the slow back and forth, picking bushes and landmarks and trying to zigzag between them. Not getting a whole lot of agate in this stretch. It's weird. Maybe we're farther out and this is only where all the light stuff slung out into a low pressure zone. But it would look pretty a few weeks ago, or months ago, when there was water here flowing through this little channel of cottonwoods. It's kind of broken up into other little channels here, so going over each one, seeing what secrets it might hold. And reporting back to you each time I find something cool. Hope you're enjoying it and thanks for sticking with me. Look at this. That's a snake skin from a gopher snake. See his long skinny tail there. So I came through here shedding its skin. And there's his head. See the snake's head? Eyes and its mouth. So every time that they get bigger and they grow, their skin stretches and they shed a layer of skin. We actually shed our skin all the time, of course, but we do it in little bits and they do it all at once. So for the youngsters watching or anybody that didn't know that, a couple of times a year, depending on how much they eat and how much they're growing, they have to go through and shed off their skin. And then that lets them get bigger because remember they have scales. So their whole body has to kind of expand at once. Collecting a bunch of this bowenite. Wow. I see something glinting over here. And this is the bedrock. This is Franciscan sandstone. That's the actual bottom of the earth here. And this is a little Drew's mushroom, like we find out here. The tops of those crystals would have been facing into a cavity in a layer, in a crevice. It's got a little chalcedony layer on the back of it, and then where it touched the host rock. And there you go. Maybe we're on to the agate zone. We're definitely down low. This is where the heavy gemmy stuff would sit, is up against the rock. I can see ridges of it now. So it comes down off that mountain and pokes up out of this riverbed right here. Things can't get no lower. Somebody's favorite tree out here on an island. This had water all around it. And they dug a little hollow. I bet you it was a real cool little spot to sit and feel safe. And look out at the water, all the white mineralization on here. Is where the water just was. A lot of minerals moving through these rocks and stuff and precipitating down and running in the water. You can see it there staining all of this. It's like a white cement on everything. And that's the same sort of actions out here that are flowing down into the crevices. This is more calcium-like creature that you see building up here, but the silicates do the same thing. They're dissolved in the water and they find a little hollow spot, and just like sugar in a cup or salt in a dish, when it dries out, it makes little layered things we call agates, or grows crystals off of it like this one did. And the little empty spots where it has a chance to make little stalagmites of silicate, basically. Whereas that stuff, the calcium, is the main thing that makes all true stalagmites and stalactites and travertines and stuff like that, is that white calciferous stuff that you see there. Which makes sense that it's flowing through this land, because this land is old seafloor. It had a lot of dissolved calcium from the sea creatures in it, and silicates. And then, just like that, halfway through the wonder, the agates start showing up. Look at that one. It's patterned. It's a chicken crow's foot pattern on the back there where it sat against the host rock. On this one, it's very crystalline and sparkly. And that's just the outside. Here's the back side. Here's the back side. And yeah, that's almost basically a silicate casting of a crevice instead of a bubble and lava, which would make the more rounder agates that we know. This was what that crack or crevice looked like when it filled in. And then Drew's teeth that filled in the void. But yeah, little crevice agate. And a foot farther is this. What the heck? What the heck? That is massive crevice agate. Look at that. And then, so there's a, the outside. Wow. And then there. But then look at the Drews inside. That is gorgeous. That's what this river system has. That's why I come out here, is these massive, just half geode clamshell agates. Got a little wet. The last of the moisture in the bottle, that's about it. But you get the point on that one. Oh yeah. And 3 feet away, got a big old slab of crevice agate. Boom, that's what that is. You kind of recognize the pattern on the outside again. And there's the top one. And then it's 2 layers of drews coming together there, growing from either side and filling in the crevice. It's white and milky and mostly quartz crystal, but that's what that is. I can get it wet here. And kind of get more of an idea of the layer of chalcedony along the outside and the crystal in the middle. Okay, so we are in, ooh, nice little dollop of super sugary, pure looking bonite serpentine there. It's so hot now that the water touches the rocks and they instantly dry out. It is very hot. Very, very warm today. Muggy, I would say. Ooh, see a pretty little layer of chalcedony there. Where are you? It's there. There it is. Oh! Yeah. That's what we're done come out here for. Look at the colors in that. That's purple. It's got purple in it. You see that? That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. See the pictorial shape of that? Look into the bubble zone. What? That is freaky. I hope the color on that's picking up. It's just so pink. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Haven't seen that one before. See the overall pink of that? The pink and the blue? It's gorgeous. I hope that the camera is picking that up. Not to mention all the little bubbles, not to mention how pretty it is. Oh, look, you see the, look. Wow. It's really nice stuff. Okay. Love that. Crazy. There's a little crevicey creature right there. See all the frills? So those were all the little veins that were once trapped in the host rock, but now the very softer sandstone has eroded away, and this harder silicate chalcedony, which is a 7 like agate and jasper, since they're all the same thing basically, has stayed intact. You can see the little bandings of chalcedony along the edge, and then this was a cavity, a complete hollow void, like a weird shaped geode inside the mountain, and that would have filled with these little crystals that you see, and the rest of that was all trapped in there. It might even have some hollowness inside the whole thing, but that's what that is. And it's a really nice specimen because it's got almost all of the stuff dissolved away like it was in acid or something. And look at that. Look at that. It's another tip. You see that? Just laying there. Beautifully. Well, we'll move this up out of the gravel bed and make sure it's safe. And yeah, projectile tip of some sort made out of volcanic glass. And it's beautiful. I feel blessed to be able to find these and save them, and it's like they're jumping out at us. So, yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. This is another type of serpentine. Then we get out here. This one looks real crazy. The patterns in it have been exacerbated by the erosion of one mineral being softer than the other. It looks like a petrified pine cone. But yeah, it's a whole other mix of serpentine there. Pretty fun looking. Might haul that one home just because it's a nice specimen. Here's another snake skin here. Let's see. That head. His head. It looks like that one was a rattlesnake. Yeah, it's the right pattern on there, and they don't go all the way around like a king snake would. So that was most likely a rattlesnake, and that's why the end of it's missing. So he's out here where we gotta walk through too. Hunting all the gophers that feed all the baby ticks. And I've already had 3 ticks on me and haven't seen the snake because the snake would run away. I'm loud and noisy. So the dangerous thing out here is probably the ticks, and baby ticks need these small thin skins of rodents to be able to do their life cycle. And so when you don't have a lot of hawks, foxes, snakes and predators like that around, and you get an overabundance of rodents, which has never been a good thing in history for humankind. And that's one of the things that it definitely causes, that we've discovered, is outbreaks in Lyme disease, because the more rodents, the more ticks. So the more we know, the better it'll get, in theory. This is actually a really cool little version of a crevice agate. Wet it down and look at the little lines that make this an agate. We are getting battery signal here. That is a bummer. Couple of pieces of chert here. This one's again a nice green. Battery is dying, but here is a big old, there's the layer of chalcedony that's set against the host rock, and then just a really beaten up layer of druze on there. All the quartz crystals that once were across the top just tumbled down in the cobble. But one of our big crevice agates. Pick up 1,000 pieces of serpentine out here. I tell you, this one's probably an ephrite. You see how green that is? It's green. Very leafy, very green. It's got the rust in it. That looks right. That looks way right.